Shalom and greetings. And, first and foremost, giving all honor and praise unto the Most High. Um, and just thanking Him for allowing us to come into another month, another month, man, to where, we can actually uh, continue on the right path, man, and just continue the works, continue keeping the commandments and really, trying to put our best foot forward. All right. I know we're going through a lot of challenging things in our everyday life, but the main goal for us, man, is just to continue pushing. Okay. So one day, these old decrepit bodies, man, and that we're dwelling in right now, we won't have these anymore. We'll have new spiritual bodies. You know what I mean? Bodies that won't break down. I mean, I could tell you about all of the issues that I got, man. You know what I'm saying? As far as in my head, the concussions that I done acquired. You know what I'm saying? Over the years from playing sports, especially contact sports. You know, so I mean, what I'm looking forward to is just being able to receive. You know what I'm saying? The blessedness of having a new body. You know what I'm saying? With a new spirit. You know, having a new name given to me. You know what I'm saying? Because remember in the scriptures it does say that Israel will be given a new name. You know, we won't be called Israel anymore. We'll be called something different. You know what I'm saying? So, remember that's what I believe it says it in the book of Isaiah. I'll get it for you guys later. But Israel will be given a new name. All of that, man. So, so there's no confusion. You know what I'm saying? We call it what the princes with power, but we call something completely different, man, something even better. You know what I mean? So, just all praise to the most high, man, just for allowing us to gather here this evening, man, and just to receive of his holy word. So, of course, nonetheless, we're gonna go back into his law. And we're going to break down a little bit about the Levitical priesthood. All right, so that's what tonight's lesson about is about the Levitical priesthood, dealing with the order of Aaron. Okay, so who could tell me a little bit about the priesthood? Okay, that's good. All right, only Aaron and his sons, all right, were assigned or selected. You know what I'm saying, to fulfill the duties of the office of a priesthood. What is a priest? What is the Hebrew word for priest? Kahan, right? Or in the modern Kohan, or Kahan, all right? So I'm gonna read a little bit, man. I'm gonna just read from the Eastern Bible Dictionary and just give you some, just give you a little bit of information about the priesthood itself, all right? So you guys can write this down. I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna take my time with this, so you guys can definitely get the understanding of it and really be able to take the notes. So I'm gonna read this in the Eastern Bible Dictionary. All right. So yes, this is the definition of priest. All right. So it says the Hebrew kohan. All right. And then it says always denotes one who offers sacrifices. All right. So that's what the priest does. He's one who offers sacrifice, or always denotes one who offers sacrifices. All right. So now I'm gonna read a little bit of the information about the the priesthood itself. So it says, at first, every man was his own priest. It says, and presented his own sacrifices before the Most High. Afterward, that office developed on the head of the family, as in the cases of Noah, right? Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, okay? And then you also see Job, because remember, Job, he did also offer sacrifices himself, all right? So that's why it goes back to saying that at one time man did offer sacrifices or atone for his own sins, okay? So remember, the priesthood was later installed for us so that, they will be the mediators between us and the Most High. All right. So Israel had a mediator, which was the Levitical priesthood. All right. So remember, the Levitical priesthood was built up by Moses himself. All right. So Moses was the one who basically helped establish the priesthood. All right. So remember, Moses received many great instructions. You know what I'm saying, from the Most High. All right. So now, I'm gonna read a little bit more. So it says the name first occurs as applied to Melchizedek, right, in Genesis chapter 14 and verse 8. All right, yes, yeah. Remember, so so that office developed on the head of the family, as in the cases of Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all right, and Job. Okay, let me know if I'm going too fast. All right. So now it says the name first occurs as applied to Melchizedek, right, in Genesis verse 18. Under the Levitical arrangement, the office of the priesthood was limited to the tribe of Levi and to only one family of that tribe, the family of Aaron. Certain laws respecting the qualification of priests are given in, and I'll give you that bit. We're going to go over that chapter as well. And it says the ordinances is also regarding the priest's dress. All right. So remember, the priest had a dress code they had to abide by. So remember, the dress code was also in reference symbolic as well. All right. I'm backtrack. So it said the name first occurred as applied to Melchizedek, right? So remember, Melchizedek was the one who Abraham had brought the tenth spoil to after he had destroyed the kings. After he had destroyed the kings, all right, the five kings. Okay, when you read that chapter. And then it says, under the Levitical arrangements of the office, the office of the priesthood was limited to the tribe of Levi. So remember, the Lord selected one tribe, right, to set apart, and that was the that was the tribe of Levi, right? And he says, and one family of that tribe, the family of Aaron. So Aaron's family, or Aaron himself, was selected to be the priest or the high priest. Okay, so they were the ones who would literally be the ones offering the sacrifices. All right, so the Levites, they were the ones who would do the basically the setting up of the tabernacle. You know what I'm saying, and then putting all of the victuals in the tabernacle and stuff like that. The priest or the sons of Aaron, they will oversee it. They will oversee it all. All right. So they were like the bosses in charge. So now it says there are ordinances also regarding the priest's dress. So they had a dress code that they had to abide by. All right. And we're going to get those scriptures pertaining to the dress code. And then it says, and the manner of their consecration and a very uh, strict procedures that they had to follow. Okay. Yes, they did. So, right. So everybody got that? If you don't have it, then don't worry about it. We'll get it. We'll So now let's deal with the first part, the origin of the origin of the priesthood. Okay, so now let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 14, and we're going to get verse 18. Genesis chapter 14, verse, and we're going to start at verse 18. And it says, and Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abraham of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be the Most High God, which hath delivered thine enemies into thine hand. And he gave him tithes of all, right? So you see that Abraham gave tithes to Melchizedek, right? So Melchizedek is going back to, it's going back to Christ, all right, or Yahweh Shai. Okay, so I have another lesson I'm working on to explain more so about the origin of Melchizedek himself. All right, so we'll go into him a little bit later, but this is to show you that the order of the priesthood has always been around. That so now let's go to the book of Exodus, Exodus chapter 6. So you'll read in various chapters of the scriptures, man, and it's going to show you how, as I said before, that Abraham that Noah offered sacrifice, Abraham offered sacrifices upon altars, Isaac, Jacob, so these and Job, so these men all offer sacrifices. Do you guys need those scriptures? All right, so for Noah is Genesis chapter 8 and verse 20. So this is just to show like that they offered sacrifices upon altars. Then Abraham would be Genesis chapter 12 and verse 7, and also chapter 13 and verse 4. Then with Isaac is chapter 26 and verse 25. Yeah, Genesis chapter 26 and verse 25. And for Jacob is chapter 31, 35, and chapter 31 and verse 54, excuse me. And then for, no, that was Abraham or Abraham, excuse me. And then Job is Job 1 and 5, chapter 1 and verse 5. So now let's go to Exodus chapter 6. Let's deal with a little bit of the bloodline. All right, Exodus chapter 6, we're going to start at verse 14. So now it says, let me know when you guys are there. You there? All right, so it says, and these are the names of the sons of Levi according to their generations: Gershon and Kohath and Merari. And the years of the life of Levi were 137 years. The sons of Gershon, Libnah, and Shimei, according to their families, and the sons of Kohath, Amram, Ishar, and Hebron, Uzziel, and the years of the life of Kohath were 133 years. And the sons of Merari, Mahalai, and Mushai. These are the families of Levi according to their generations. So now you see that these are the sons in which Levi had. All right. So now, so now it says, and Amram took him Jochebed, his father's sister, to wife, and she bare him Aaron and Moses. And the years of the life of Amram were 137 years. And the sons of Isar, Korah, and Nifgah, and Zik, Zikri. And the sons of Uziel, Mishael, and Elsaphan, and Itarai. And Aaron took him Elisha, Elisha, daughter of Aminadab, sister of Nisan, to wife. And she bare him Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. All right, so now it's genealogy all the way um, up to the current sons of Aaron. All right, so it's showing you that this is the bloodline of of their families. Okay, so now it says, and the sons of Korah were Asar and Elkanah and Abisaphan. These are the families of the Kohathites. And Eleazar, Aaron's son, took him one of the daughters of Pethuel to wife, and she bare him Phinehas. These are the heads of the fathers of the Levites according to their families. These are that Aaron and Moses, to whom the Lord said, bring out the children of Israel from the land of Egypt according to their armies, right? So now make sure you highlight that because that's showing you all of the line or the lineage of Levi. All right. So this is not the only this is not the only these are not the only descendants of Levi. There are a lot more, but that's when we go into the book of Chronicles, all right? And that's where we're going to head next. Okay. So now let's jump to First Chronicles chapter 6, and you're going to see more of the bloodline there, and you're going to see how far it extends. All right, First Chronicles chapter 6, and then I'm going to show you another important figure that was also a Levite. All right, and he was like a 16th generation Levite. All right, and you're going to find him. You're going to read about him in the Apocrypha. So let's go to First Chronicles chapter 6, and we're going to start at verse 1. I'm not going to go into all of it, but you could definitely read a lot of it for a lot of the rest of it for yourselves and get the understanding. All right. So it says the sons of Levi, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. The sons of Kohath, Amram, Asar, and Hebron, and Uziel. And the children of Amram, Aaron, and Moses, and Miriam. Right. So it shows you those are the three children of Amram. Okay. Those are the children which he had in Egypt. Okay. When you read the book of Exodus, chapter 2. All right, where it tells you a man and a woman of the house of Levi came together. All right. So now, so those are the three. So the children of Amram are Aaron, Moses, and Miriam. The sons also of Aaron, Nadab, Aminadab, Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithmar. So those are the sons of Aaron. Okay, those are the sons which he had. So what happened to Nadab and Abihu? The Most High killed them, right? Why? Because they offered strange fire before the Lord. So they broke the commandment of the Heavenly Father, and He ended up destroying them. All right, because they did not listen to Him. Okay, so now it says, verse 4: Eleazar begat Phinehas, and Phinehas begat Abshua, and Abshua begat Buakai, and Buakai begat Uzziah. All right, so then it's going to show you, it's going to go on and on with the lineage, and you see that it's a very extensive lineage that he goes into as far as with the sons of Aaron. All right, so it's going into everybody. Okay, so make sure that you do read the book of First Chronicles chapter 6. All right, so Aaron and his sons, remember they were selected by the Most High. All right, so now let's go to the Apocrypha real quick. Let's go to the Apocrypha. And let's get second at the book of Second Ezra chapter 1. Second Ezra chapter 1, and we're going to get verse 1. Okay. So now this is Ezra, right? That's in the Bible, okay? So this is the Greek rendition of his name, Ezra's, all right? So it says the second book of the prophet Ezra. So remember, he was a Levite of the sons of Aaron. It says the second book of the prophet Ezra, the son of Chaarash, the son of Azarias, the son of Hilkias, the son of Sadamias, the son of Sadak, the son of Octob, the son of Oxias, the son of Phinehas, the son of Heli, the son of Amirias, the son of Azai, the son of Miramoth, the son of Anah, the son of Uzzias, the son of Borith, the son of Absias, the son of Phinehas, the son of Eleazar. All right. So it shows you just how far back he goes, or just how far back his genealogy actually goes. Okay. So now it's showing you here that he's like a 19th generation Levite. When you look at his full genealogy, that's why I said make sure First Chronicles chapter 6. All right, and look up the names here in the Greek rendition of Ezra's, and you'll be able to see it. But you can also go back to the book of Ezra in the Bible and also get the actual English renditions of his forefathers. All right. So it says, the son of Aaron of the tribe of Levi, which was captive in the land of the Medes in the reign of Artaxerxes, king of the Persians. All right. So that's where he was. He was in the land of the Medes. Okay. So he was of the sons of Aaron of the tribe of Levi. So that shows you that Ezra had a very, very uh, powerful genealogy. All right. So now let's go to Exodus chapter 28. Exodus chapter 28, and I'm going to start at verse 1. And it says, and take thou unto thee Aaron thy brother and his sons with him from among the children of Israel, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office, even Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar, Aaron's sons. So now you see this is the Most High separating, all right, the sons of Levi. Excuse me, the sons of Aaron um, from the rest of the tribe of Levi, all right, even from among the children of Israel. Okay. So now he says here, he says, and thou shalt make them holy garments for Aaron thy brother for glory and for beauty. So now they also were given glorious apparel that they will actually minister in now. All right. Once they will go up and they will teach the people the law, even when they will offer the sacrifices unto the Lord, they were to dress appropriately, and the Most High shows us the garments that they would actually be wearing. Okay, when they ministered to the people, and also when they conducted the sacrifices. So now he says in verse 3, he says, and thou shalt speak unto all that are wise hearted, whom I have filled with the spirit of wisdom, that they may make Aaron's garments to consecrate him, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. Right? So now, this is the Most High instructing Moses, right? To speak unto all of those men who were filled with the spirit of wisdom, that could do cunning work, man, making garments, right? So now it says, this is what the Most High wanted. So he said he wanted Aaron's garments to consecrate him, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. So he wanted him to execute his office, all right, as being the priest. Okay, so remember, Aaron was the high priest. So now it says, and these are the garments which they shall make: a breastplate and an ephod, and a robe, and a embroidered coat, a mitre, and a girdle. And they shall make them holy garments for Aaron thy brother and his sons, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. All right. So now he shows you, man, that's what he wanted these garments to be made for, as I said before, so that they will minister in the office of, before the Lord, all right, in the priest office. So then, of course, he shows you the actual colors of the actual garment that was going to be made by, by the people, right? So you guys can definitely read the rest of the chapter on your own. All right, so read all of chapter 28. It covers and goes into extensively, what the onyx stones mean, you know what I'm saying, or the 12 stones is going to be in the breastplate of the high priest, what the ephod, was built for, all of that. Okay, so it shows you, that everything that you're reading here about the priesthood, you're also going to see later on in the scriptures as well. All right. So many of, even the names of some of the sons of Aaron, you're also going to see that many of some of the prophets that you read about are the actual descendants of the sons of Aaron. Okay. So it shows you that the Lord was dealing heavily with the tribe of Levi as far as them ministering or prophesying as the priest. All right. So so now let's go to Numbers. Let's go to Numbers now. Numbers chapter 3. Numbers chapter 3. We're going to start at verse 1. Did you get that? If you don't get all of them, I still have a printout. I can print you out. I can have you a printout of all the scriptures that you do miss. So it says, these also are the generations of Aaron and Moses in the day that the Lord spake with Moses in Mount Sinai. And these are the names of the sons of Aaron: Nadab the firstborn, and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. These are the names of the sons of Aaron, the priests, which were anointed, whom he consecrated to minister in the priest's office. And Nadab and Abihu died before the Lord when they offered strange fire before the Lord in the wilderness of Sinai, and they had no children. So they had no children. So those are two of Aaron's sons, all right, that were put to death. Okay. So then it says, boom, 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 boom. So it says they had no children, and Eleazar and Ithamar ministered in the priest's office in the sight of Aaron their father, right? So when you see that Eleazar and Ithamar, right? So they were the two sons that were left. So Aaron had like four sons, right? Two of them died. And you see that those are the two families that were left. So through Eleazar, the lineage will continue. Okay, Ismar, his lineage was basically snuffed out, during the time of Solomon. All right, Ithmar, his family no longer was able to minister before the Lord as far as dealing with the sacrifices and stuff like that. The Most High cut his line off. All right, so then you'll see, I think Eli was a part of that lineage. All right. And remember the evils that his sons did cost him the priesthood as well. So you see that through Eleazar, the priesthood actually continues. And when you see the genealogy, when you read about the genealogy in First Chronicles chapter 6, it'll show you that as well. So then it says, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, bring the tribe of Levi near and present them before Aaron the priest, that they may minister unto me. And they shall keep his charge and the charge of the whole congregation before the tabernacle of the congregation to do the service of the tabernacle. So this is what the rest of the tribe of Levi had to basically do. All right. So they were in charge of other aspects for the service of the tabernacle itself. All right. So when you finish reading this chapter, you'll get a good understanding, a solid understanding of what the rest of the Levites, what their job was. All right. So now it says in verse 8, and they shall keep all the instruments of the tabernacle of the congregation and the charge of the children of Israel to do the service of the tabernacle. And thou shalt give the Levites unto Aaron and to his sons. They are wholly given unto him out of the children of Israel. Right? So I'll read it one more time. And thou shalt give to the Levites unto Aaron and to his sons, and they are wholly given unto him out of the children of Israel. So the children of Levi, of course, and the Levites. So that's what the Levites were given unto the sons of Aaron. Okay. So remember, they had their duties in which they had to perform. So now it says here, verse 12, verse 11. I'm sorry, verse 10. And thou shalt appoint Aaron and his sons, and they shall wait on their priest's office, and the stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to death. So strangers were not permitted to come into the office of the priesthood, right? Even of the children of Israel, right? So if you want the sons of Aaron, you could not minister before the Lord in the office of the priesthood, all right? So now it says, and I, behold, have taken the Levites from among the children of Israel instead of all the firstborn that openeth the matrix among the children of Israel. Therefore, the Levites shall be mine. So he said he took the Levites, all right, instead of the firstborn. Okay, so he says, because all the firstborn are mine, for on the day that I smote all of the firstborn in the land of Egypt, I hallowed unto me all the firstborn in Israel, both man and beast. Mine shall they be. I am the Lord. And the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, saying, number the children of Levi after the house of their fathers by their families, every male from a month old and upward, thou shalt number them. So now he's going into the census of the children of Levi. All right. So this is when you'll get the numbers. You'll be able to see the numbers of how many of the children of Levi they were, how their families break down, so on and so forth. Right. But let me read this here, okay? So that's why I said, when you begin to read it, you'll see like what family was in charge of what duty or service for the tabernacle. So now it says, I'm gonna drop down to read verse 31. All right. Well, actually, let me read verse 28 in the same chapter, Numbers chapter 3. I'm gonna read verse 28. In the number of all the males from a month old and upward were 8,600 keeping the charge of the sanctuary. The families of the sons of Kohath shall pitch on the side of the tabernacle southward, and the chief of the house of the father of the families of the Kohathites shall be Elzaphan the son of Uzziel, and their charge shall be the ark and the table, the candlestick, and the altars, and the vessels of the sanctuary wherewith they ministered, and and the hanging and all the service thereof. So that's what they were in charge of, the Kohathites. That was their duty when they were performing the office of the priesthood. All right. So they had the charge of the Ark of the Covenant, the table, the candlesticks, the altar. So all of the things that were on the inside of the tabernacle, that's what they were in charge of. Okay. It says verse 32. And Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest shall be chief over the chief of the Levites. So Eleazar was the head, all right. So he basically oversaw everything. So he says, and have the oversight of them that keep the charge of the sanctuary. So everything that went on in the sanctuary, Eleazar had charge over it. Okay. So any questions about that? Any questions? All right. So now let's skip around a little bit. So now let's go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 18. Deuteronomy chapter 18, we're going to start at verse 1. And it says, the priests and the Levites and all the tribe of Levi shall have no part nor inheritance with Israel. So now, Shawan, why do you think the Lord said that? Why would the Levites not have any inheritance with their brethren, the children of Israel? Okay. Miss Ayla, why do you think the Levites will have no part nor inheritance with the children of Israel, with the rest of the children of Israel? Okay, so all right, so they were set apart. Okay, good. So he says, they shall eat the offering of the Lord made by fire and his inheritance. So it says, and there shall, therefore shall they have no inheritance among their brethren. The Lord is their inheritance, as he hath said unto them. So he said, the Lord is their inheritance. All right. So remember, the children of the children of Levi were basically set apart. Okay, out of all of the tribes of Israel. So remember what we read in Numbers. Remember, the Lord said that he separated them. Okay, or he set them aside for himself. All right, he brought them near unto himself so they could perform the office not only ministering of the priesthood, but also doing the service of the actual the tabernacle, the congregation. So then it says, and this shall be the priest's due from the people, from them that offer a sacrifice, whether it be ox or sheep, and they shall give of thy corn and of thy wine and of thine oil, and the first of the fleece of thy sheep. Thou shalt, right? So now you see that the Levites, they got the first of everything. All right, they got the first fruits of all of what the children of Israel had to offer, pretty much. All right. So all of that would pretty much go to the Levites. Okay, the best. So they didn't bring them none of the things that was overripe or anything. They got the first of everything. Okay. So like he said, the first of the corn, the wine, the oil, the fleece of the sheep. He said, you're gonna get. Okay, that's when you read that in the that's when you read in the book of Numbers, right where we left off. Right, okay, so where it talks about the formation, seeing that the tribe of Levi there at the center, right, just how the Most High is the center of our life. Pretty much it goes into that. But now, real quick, let's go to Genesis. Hold Deuteronomy. Go to Genesis, and you'll see why the Levites pretty much had no inheritance too. Genesis chapter 49, and we're going to get verse. We're going to start at verse 5. So this is when Jacob had gathered his sons together, and he basically was going to tell them the things that were going to happen to them in the near future. All right. So now it says here, Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitation. O my soul, come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly, mine honor, be not thou united. Right. So remember, what did Simeon and Levi do? They killed Shechem, right? Took back their sister and smote an entire city, all right, and took slaves. hmm They made a secret. They made a secret pact with the children of Shechem, right, in the city, right, and they were basically being deceitful with them, right. Their father had no knowledge of this. So when it happened, man, it was a bigger shock to Jacob than anything. But this is why now he's reproving his sons and letting them know, man, what y'all did ain't right. That's why he said instruments of cruelty are in their habitations, man. Remember, it said that they were being servants unto sin. All right. So this is what was going on with Simeon and Levi. Okay. So they pretty much they weren't being right. So they were messed up. So now it says Simeon and Levi are brethren, instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. O my soul, come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly, mine honor be not thou united. For in their anger they slew a man. So who was that man that they slew? They slew Shechem, right? And he says, and in their self-will they dig down a wall, right? So they broke. So they possibly broke many of the alliances that Abraham has set up with many of the inhabitants of the land of Canaan, right? Alliances that had long been held intact, by Jacob, you know what I mean? By Isaac, then Jacob. Okay. So remember, they were pretty much, man, they were liked amongst the nations, right? That's why Jacob said, you caused me to stink, among the inhabitants, right? And they're gonna come and kill us. We're only few. So just because they had did that wickedness, all right. So that's why I said they dig down the wall. He said, "Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel." He says, "I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel." Right. So he shows you a little bit of the future prophecy that was going to come to pass about Simeon and Levi. So you see that Simeon, right? He was basically like basically like in the center of Judah, right? So that's where his abode was, and then you see that Levi was pretty much scattered throughout the tribes. So he was set apart, and remember, their basically their inheritance was those what they call the suburbs. The suburbs was the inheritance that was given to them. The suburbs were scattered all throughout, the land of Israel. All right, from the south all the way up to the north. Okay, so that's why, man, Jacob said here, I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. Okay, so now let's go back to Deuteronomy chapter 18. So did you understand that? Yes, that's why the Most High, man, he was gonna, right. They want to be scattered throughout Israel. So that was pretty much their purpose, to become the priest. All right. Hold on one second. Let me get this. So that was pretty much what they were how what they basically were gonna what they were gonna inherit was the priesthood and to be scattered. So they weren't gonna get any land. Most High made sure of that. All right, so now we're back in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18, and we're going to pick it up at verse 5. So now it says here, for the Lord thy God hath chosen him out of all thy tribes to stand to minister in the name of the Lord, him and his sons forever. So you see that he was selected, right, to stand and minister before the Lord, him and his sons forever. Okay. So we see that that's pretty much that's true, right? So many of the sons of Aaron did prophesy. They seen many great visions. and many great things, from the Most High. All right. So now it says, and if a Levite come from any of thy gates out of all Israel, where he sojourned, and come with all the desire of his mind unto the place which the Lord shall choose, then he shall minister in the name of the Lord his God, as all his brethren the Levites do, which stand there before the Lord. They shall have like portions to eat, besides that which cometh to the sale of his patrimony. So he will have the same portion as those that were there. All right. So if he comes from another land, so if he coming from the northern Israel, and he comes to sojourn in Judah, then he will still receive the same portion as those Levites that are there. All right, doing the service of uh of the tabernacle of the congregation. All right. So, but this is talking about when he it says in all the desire of his mind unto the place which the Lord shall choose. Remember, the Lord chose Jerusalem, all right? So now, let's go to Numbers 18. So the Levites weren't given any inheritance, right? So he said, the Lord is their portion. So now, let's go to Numbers 18. And we'll see what else the Lord had gave the children of Levi, all right? So remember, the sons of Aaron were going to be the ones to minister before the Lord forever. They were going to be what you would call the high priest, all of that. Okay. So now Numbers chapter 18. So Numbers chapter 18, and we're going to start at verse 20. Or you know what? I'll start at verse 1. Numbers chapter 18 and verse 1. And it says, and the Lord said unto Aaron, thou and thy sons and thy father's house with thee shall bear the iniquity of the sanctuary. And thou and thy sons with thee shall bear the iniquity of your priesthood. And thy brethren also of the tribe of Levi, the tribe of thy father, bring thou with thee, that they may be joined unto thee and minister unto thee. And thou and thy sons with thee shall minister before the tabernacle of witness. And they shall keep thy charge and the charge of all the tabernacle, only they shall not come nigh the vessels of the sanctuary and the altar, that neither they nor ye also die. And they shall be joined unto thee, and keep the charge of the tabernacle of the congregation for all the service of the tabernacle, and the stranger shall not come nigh unto you. And ye shall keep the charge of the sanctuary and the charge of the altar, that there be no wrath any more upon the children of Israel. Right? So remember, that we're given also the aspect of sacrifice. All right. So you go right down Leviticus chapter 1, that goes into all of the offerings that they were able to perform, or the beasts that they were able to sacrifice, and he showed them how they were going to sacrifice those beasts. So now verse 6, and behold, I have taken your brethren the Levites from among the children of Israel. To you they are given as a gift for the Lord, to do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. Therefore thou and thy sons with thee shall keep your priest's office for everything of the altar and within the veil. So basically, the children of Levi were given, like I said, as assistants to the sons of Aaron. Okay. So now he says, within the veil, and ye shall serve, and I have given your priest's office unto you as a service of gift. and the stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to death. So anybody who was not a part of the sons of Aaron, they died. All right, they were put to death. Okay, so now it says, and the Lord spake unto Aaron, behold, I also have given thee the charge of mine heave offering of all the hallowed things of the children of Israel. Unto thee have I given them by reason of the anointing, and to thy sons by an ordinance forever. So all of the holy things of the children of Israel were given unto the Levitical priest. All right. So now he says, this shall be of thy most holy things reserved for the fire. Every oblation of theirs, every meat offering of theirs, and every sin offering of theirs, every trespass offering of theirs, which they shall render unto me, shall be most holy for thee and for thy sons. Right? So all of the meat offerings, all of the sin offerings, all of the trespass, all of those, basically, those were the portions that were given unto the priests as their meat, as their food. All right, so that they be able to sustain themselves. Okay. So remember, this was a constant thing that was going on. So of course, this would never run out. All right, unless the children of Israel just stop sinning altogether. And the only thing that they would really be offering is, you know, their free will offerings. All right, their peace offerings. You know what I mean? That they wanted to make with the Most High, right? And then also the sacrifices for the feast days. But we see that the sons of Aaron, they had a very rigorous regimen of sacrificing, right? So they had to sacrifice on the new moons. They had to sacrifice on the Sabbath day. That's why Christ said, you know, he's like, have you not read about how the priests how they how they cook on the Sabbath and are blameless, you know? So how are they cooking on the Sabbath? How are they cooking on the Sabbath? How is that permitted? Well, they had to offer the sacrifices, right? The children of Israel still had to be atoned for. Aaron, he had to atone for himself. Then he had to offer sins for the people's, right? For the people's sake, you know. So it was like this was like a never-ending process, man, that the priest had to go through. Okay. So they had to sacrifice. All right. So now it says, verse 10, in the most holy place thou shalt eat it. Every male shall eat it. It shall be holy unto thee. And this is thine, the heave offering of their gift, with all the wave offerings of the children of Israel. I have given them unto thee, and to thy sons, and to thy daughters with thee, by a statute forever. Every one that is clean in thy house shall eat of it. So this is how they sustain themselves. Right? Everybody that was clean in the household of that priest, all right, they would be able to partake of those holy things. All right. So remember, the sacrifices, they were holy. All right. The sin offering was still holy. When they partook of it, the trespass offering, that was still holy when they partook of it. Okay. So they had to be clean. They could not have any type of uncleanliness on them. Remember the show bread, the unleavened bread, that was still holy. All right. So they had to be clean before they ate it. They ate of it. They could not be unclean and eat of it. All right. Or else they would die. The Most High would basically put them to death for that. So it says, verse 12, all the best of the oil and all the best of the wine and of the wheat, the first fruits of them which they shall offer unto the Lord, them have I given thee. So the first fruits, right? The best of the best that the children of Israel would bring, it was given unto the priest. So just imagine they had everything, man. You're talking about millions of people, man, bringing you gifts, presents, and offerings. The best of their fruit, you know what I mean? The biggest of the grapes, man, the bananas, you know what I'm saying? The oranges, anything that you could think about, man, that's what they was bringing. The best corn, the best smelling oils. All of this was presented to them first before they even got their cut. Before the children of Israel got their cut, they already had to cut 10% of that and give it to the Levites, man, automatically off top. And then the Levites, they would take it for their families, and then it would be distributed amongst them, right? And that which was left over, remember, they stored it up. Okay. So it says, and whatsoever is right in the land which they shall bring unto the Lord shall be thine. So this was the benefits, man, that the sons of Aaron have, not having land. All right. They were given the best of the best by the Most High. He said, everything that's given to me, I'm giving it to you. It's yours. All right. So just imagine that. So it says, everyone that is clean in thy house shall eat of it. So everybody that's clean, that shall eat of it. Everything devoted in Israel shall be thine. So he said, not some things. He said, everything that's devoted in it. Yes. No, they weren't being punished. Remember, that was just a judgment that was placed upon them at that time. Remember, Jacob was basically given a prophecy. All right. Remember, you don't read too much about Simeon, do you? Do you? You don't read about his warriors, his valiant acts. Remember, a lot of the things, man, that the Most High do, man, when he cuts you off. Remember, he said he could take your name out. You know what I mean? You don't have to be this illustrious and powerful warrior. You'll hear about the tribe of Judah. You'll hear about those of Ephraim. You'll hear about Issachar in there. You know what I mean? You'll hear about the valiant acts of Benjamin, even their rebelliousness, right? But how often do you hear about Reuben? How often do you hear about Simeon? You know what I mean? Naphtali, a lot of these tribes. I mean, you read about Naphtali because, of course, Tobit. You know what I mean? Tobit, the goodly word, right? So each tribe, man, had their own prophecy or something that was going to befall them in the latter days, right? So a lot of everything that was being spoken about in the book of Genesis, chapter 49. Remember, you had it was not only judgments, but also things that would be an upliftment to Israel, right? Like, remember, Judah, thy brethren shall praise, right? So remember, of course, Judah was praised of his brethren. Judah is the head tribe. The chief ruler did come from the tribe of Judah, right? Christ is the chief ruler. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, I mean, what else? Shiloh coming. Who is Shiloh? Shiloh's Christ, right? Remember, and unto him it said, unto him shall the gathering of the people be. you know. So remember, you know what I'm saying? He said that all Jacob did was prophesy to his sons and let them know you're going to be scattered, you know what I'm saying, throughout Israel. That's why he said, I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. With Simeon, that's why when you look at the whole doctrine about the Dominicans and the Haitians, right? Dominicans are supposed to be the tribe of Simeon, right? And then the Haitians supposed to be the tribe of Levi. Well, why are they on the same island in the Lord if that's the part of the chart? See what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. But yes, it says Israel, but they're not in Israel. But they're on the same island. You know what I mean? But just one is on one side of the island, one is on the other side of the island. The Dominicans, the Haitians. The Dominicans are kicking out the Haitians. So the Lord said he was going to divide them. That's why he said he's going to scatter them through Israel. All right. Remember, these brothers, they were close. It shows you how tight. It shows you in the scripture how tight of a relationship they had. If these were two brothers. Look, these were two brothers that sat there and they murdered a man, right? And they destroyed an entire city. Shechem just wasn't no peon city either. You see? Yes, you're right. He wasn't afraid to execute judgment. That's why the Lord made a covenant with him. Remember Phineas? What did he do? He executed judgment, and that's why the Lord had made a covenant of peace with him and his family forever, because he executed judgment. Why would because Simeon he would just be a part of the tribe of Judah. He just be there. That's it. You're not gonna really hear anything about Simeon. Remember, I believe it's in the book of Joshua, and it says that he was basically taken into the tribe of Judah, absorbed into Judah. So he just became a part of the tribe of Judah. They be basically intermingled with one another. You see? No, they tell you that the Dominicans are supposed to be Simeon. So you have brothers that claim it, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I can't verify how true that is, because the scriptures say, man, that they both was mingled in with one another. They were there. You look at your Zondervan, or excuse me, look at your Bible Atlas and look at the 12 tribes right in the allotted land. Where's Simeon at? He'd be in the southern portion in the center of Judah. That's where his territory was given. So what did Judah say in the book of Joshua? He said, "Our land is too much for us. Come with us and take some of our inheritance." You see? So that's why they ended up there. Where did Levi end up? Scattered throughout all Israel. That's why I said. That's why when you look at like the book of Joshua, remember those cities of refuge. You know what I'm saying? Those were the suburbs. Those were Levitical cities, man, that were established for the Levites, the best. The suburbs are supposed to be the best. So they had the best homes. The best piece of land was given to them out of all the tribes of Israel. All right. So in their way, that was the Lord. That was the Lord basically separating them. It's just like when you look at what's that show called? You look at twins, right? You separate those twins. What happened? One twin is sad without the other. You know what I mean? Right. So you see Simeon was second, Levi was third, Judah was fourth. So you see Simeon and Levi. They was like the two boys in between, of course. So you know how close you think they would be. You know what I mean? So they children they play together no more. But let's go back. So in the book of Numbers, chapter 15, so it says everything. I'm in chapter 18 and verse 15. Everything that openeth a matrix in all flesh, which they bring unto the Lord, whether it be of men or beasts, shall be thine. Nevertheless, the firstborn of man shalt thou surely redeem, and the firstling of unclean beasts thou shalt redeem. And those that are to be redeemed from a month old shalt thou redeem according to thy estimation for the money of 5 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary, which is 20 garments. But the firstling of a cow, or the firstling of a sheep, or the firstling of a goat, thou shalt not redeem. They are holy, right? So remember, anything that was basically brought to them, right? They were able to redeem it, meaning that they could sell it, pretty much. But the things that they could not sell, like say for instance, the firstling of the cow, the sheep, the goat, they couldn't sell that. He said those are holy to you. You don't sell those. That's basically like what redeem basically means. You know what I mean? So he says, those are holy. Thou shalt sprinkle their blood upon the altar, and shall burn their fat for an offering made by fire for a sweet savor unto the Lord. So it shows you that's why the Lord said, you couldn't redeem those things. So remember, our people did a lot of what you call it. They did a lot of trading. You know what I mean, and selling and stuff. Yeah, there you go. So that's what the Levitical priest did also. All right. So remember, you got the best of the best. Somebody came back. Well, look, I gotta go here. It's in much better shape and condition here. I want to give you this. You know what I mean? I want to take that. I want to take that whatever back. And give this to you. This is even better. So then he's like, all right, you can redeem it. Okay. But he said, of these, which the Lord just mentioned, he said you can redeem those. So he says, and the flesh of them shall be thine as the wave breast, and as the right shoulder are thine. All the heave offerings are the holy things which the children of Israel offer unto the Lord. I have given thee, and thy sons and thy daughters with thee by a statute forever. It is a covenant of salt forever between the Lord unto thee and to thy seed with thee. And the Lord spake unto Aaron, Thou shalt have no inheritance in their land, neither shalt thou have any part among them. I am thy part and thy inheritance among the children of Israel. So he said, I am your part and inheritance. So he says, and behold, I have given the children of Levi all the tenth of Israel for an inheritance for their service which they serve, even the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. All right. So he says, neither must the children of Israel henceforth come nigh to the tabernacle of the congregation, lest they bear sin and die. But the Levites shall do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they shall bear their iniquity. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations, that among the children of Israel they have no inheritance. But the tithes of the children of Israel, which are offered as an heap offering unto the Lord, I have given to the Levites to inherit. Therefore, I have said unto them, among the children of Israel, they shall have no inheritance. All right. So he said, they shall have no inheritance amongst the children of Israel. So Israelites, man, that did different jobs, they couldn't come to work on the tabernacle, the congregation anymore, right? He said from henceforth. So now he's handing over the responsibility of that to the Levites, right? In the later portion of the scripture, they call them Nathanims, and Nathanims were basically like those who did the service of the temple. All right, so they were the ones that cleaned the temple, did the upkeep and the maintenance of the entire temple, right? The vessels, all of that. Okay, and then remember the priests, they were the ones that worked inside, offered the sacrifices, and kept everything else running. Okay, so that's basically how it literally worked. In the priest, in the temple and in the tabernacle of the congregation. All right, so then you'll see that in the rest of this chapter, the Lord did give uh, the tenth to the children of Levi as their inheritance. All right, so remember the tenth was like the best of the wine. You know what I'm saying? Like all of the tithes of the children of Israel. That's why you look at tithes now, where you be like, well, why are you saying tithes? Tithes mean you tithe another land. You know what I mean? You're bringing corn, wine, oil. You're bringing all of what you have that your farm. You know what I'm saying? That your farm had. You know what I mean? Whatever you've grown and so on and so forth. That's what you're bringing. You know. But of course, according to the New Testament, we call it alms, right? So the monies that we bring from the properties or the land that we sell or whatnot, then we bring that money, and that's what helps out the congregation, right? So so it's pretty much, man, it's in the same fashion right now, you know what I mean, as like as far as building the church, that's pretty much what the Lord has us doing now. You know what I mean? It's almost the same thing as how the priest was doing it, but on a much lower level, you know. So you can write these down. The consecration of the priest, Exodus 29. Just write down Exodus chapter 29. You can read that. Um, Exodus chapter 40. You can read that chapter. Then Hebrews. You can write down Hebrews chapter 7 and verse 21. Leviticus chapter 21. Yeah, so just read those. Just read those. Yes. So the basically the question, well, the statement was, you heard that the Levites were allowed to shave their heads. And where did you hear that from? On Facebook? No, they were not allowed to shave their heads whatsoever. Yes, in their very law of their upkeep in Leviticus chapter 21. Yeah, Leviticus chapter 21. And I believe you could just read verse 6. Yeah, let me make sure. Leviticus 21. Actually, verse 5. Sorry. Salakia. Verse 5. So it's verse 5. That's the one that you want. So basically, this is the laws and the ordinances concerning the priest in this chapter. Chapter 21. So it goes into showing you like how they couldn't shave their heads nor, be bald or anything like that. Now they may go to this one in the book of Ezekiel, and this is probably what they're talking about, how the priests, they believe that the priests shaved their head. Ezekiel 44, I believe. 44 and hold on, baby. 44 and verse 20, where it says, neither shall they shave their heads nor suffer their locks to grow long. They shall only poll their heads. Right? Huh? No. They basically, when you poll, meaning you trim your hair. So it's basically like a haircut. No. Polling is trimming. It means to trim your hair. So just like how I trim my hair, you see brothers with like lower haircuts, you know what I mean? Or not this low, but they had to have it neat in order. So they couldn't suffer their locks to be grown all long, looking shaggy and rugged. You know what I mean? But remember, the priest had to look a certain way. You know, they were basically, you know what I'm saying? They had to have a certain image about themselves. So they couldn't be looking all bummy or looking bumite and having hair growing out their damn nose and beard looking all trashy and hair all out to here. They couldn't have that. It had to be pulled neatly, right? So remember, they trimming it nice and neat, right? You know what I'm saying? All of this had to be nice, trimmed, and neat, and clean. Okay, that's the most highest version of being clean cut. All right, clean cut. Okay, so he said that they could not shave their heads. So I don't know where they getting the priests are allowed to shave. That doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? The priests were never allowed to shave their heads at all. So remember, shaving that's against what the Most High set in place for the priests. If the priests couldn't do it, then they had to teach the children of Israel that too. All right. So it says, remember, so it said, neither shall any priest drink wine when they enter into the inner court. So priests could drink wine, they just couldn't drink it in the inner court. All right, performing the services of the tabernacle or the congregation. Okay, so when they came in, that was it. You drink on the outside, that's cool. When they came in, that was it. Yes, I believe it's from 35 to 50 years old. No, you could drink, but you couldn't drink while ministering while ministering in the office of the priesthood. You could not drink. That's like me having a big old glass of sangria right here, sipping on it while I'm teaching you the Bible. I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So the priest couldn't do that either. All right. So then he also goes over other stipulations as well regarding their marriage. You know what I mean? All of that. All right. Couldn't marry hoes, dots, and all of that. Priests couldn't marry women like that. You know what I mean? They couldn't marry women of other nations. You know what I mean? They were forbidden from doing that. It had to be a daughter of Aaron. That's why Israel was in such severe trouble because the priests, the sons of Aaron, began to marry outside of the nation. They began to marry outside of their tribe. They began to deal with women of other nations, right? And they were not supposed to do that. That's an abomination to the Most High. You see? So that's why, the Lord said, man, or Nehemiah, you know what I'm saying, shows that Israel, a lot of evil was brought upon Israel because of that type of stuff, man. You learn the ways of the nations, right? You're supposed to be a teacher of the law, but yet your wife is a heathen, you know what I mean? And she's teaching your children the ways of her fathers. How backwards is that? She's supposed to be up under your authority, learning your ways. All right. So that's why the Most High said enough is enough. You know, y'all can't marry them no more. Y'all can't deal with them no more because y'all know how to act. So, boom, 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 boom. So, of course, if the Most High did, he did allow it at one point, but remember, he gave us guidelines and rules on how it had to be followed. Or no, it's not allowed now. I believe from what I read in the scriptures, it's no longer permitted for us to marry women of other nations. You know what I mean? No matter how submissive they are, so on and so forth, man. No, it's not permitted for us to do so. Why? Yes. Why? Because, you know, they'll turn our hearts away from the Lord. That was always the main point, right? When the Most High said, you know what I'm saying, surely they will turn away your hearts from following after me. You know what I mean? So now if a woman of another nation has that much power to where you say, I forsake everything that my fathers taught me and start following, the ways of their fathers, and no, that's like me sitting here teaching you the scriptures and then a Moabite woman come along and now I want to go to China and learn the ways of her fathers. You know what I mean? That's what the Most High said. No, you don't do that. You know what I mean? So, and then of course, the aspect of genetics comes into play. You know what I mean? How you gonna be a holy and supernatural people when you're diluting or polluting your seed? You know what I'm saying? With women and men of other nations, you watering yourself down every time you do it. You know. So, uh, let's see. Anything else? Oh, we all mix when the lights go out. We all a little mix when the lights go out. Psych. But yeah. So you know, Most High expected the priest man to be a certain way. They had a level of cleanliness they had to keep, a level of professionalism. You know what I mean? They had to stay in the Torah, right, to execute and minister in the office of the priesthood. They had to conduct sacrifice from morning all the way to sundown. You know what I mean? That was their regiment. But they had rotating shifts where another priest would come in and then he would be the one offering and so on and so forth, right? So that one didn't get burned out. You know what I mean? But the high priest was like the head honcho. You know what I mean? So he was the one who the Most High was dealing with directly. All right. He still got time off too. So you see, after Aaron died, Eleazar became high priest. Then after Eleazar, then his son. All right. or whoever the Most High anointed to be high priest. Then you see after a while the high priesthood became profane, it began to become polluted. You know, many of the sons of Aaron, man, they became corrupted by that power. They wanted power more than they wanted to be, wanted to perform the office of the perform the office of the Most High, man, in sincerity and in truth. They seem, just imagine you're being brought money. We talking about millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? And you're in control of it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he knew how much money was in there. They said he was one of the governors of the temple. So yeah, it's sad, man. It's sad. That's why the high priesthood it went from Melchizedek, Aaron, Yahushua. So it just basically went to Yahushua. No, remember Melchizedek was still the high priest. Even though they were still able to perform sacrifices for themselves, he was still the head honcho. Hmm. Right. So huh? What you mean? Yes, we are the leaders and teachers of our households. Yes, I mean we are a king. The scriptures say we're a kingdom of priests. But our people gotta get right. Can't be no kingdom of priests still being profane and all of that. So like I said, from Melchizedek to the order of Aaron to the order of Yahweh Shai. You know what I mean? That's who is now back under, right? So Melchizedek is Yahweh Shai, right? So then, of course, you know what I'm saying? Remember, say he didn't have any earthly father or mother or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Huh? Remember, Christ has always been around. Nothing. He he was with the Father, you know? So remember, they had power, man, to manifest themselves here on earth, just as they still do even till this time. You know what I'm saying? Christ still did the same thing. I'll wait. Who sat before Abraham? Christ. He's always been there, man. He's always been there. You know what I mean? So, so of course, like I said, man, even now, it's been given back to Yahweh Shai. And he's now the one who, you know what I'm saying, who we're basically up under now. You know what I mean? So just like we have to offer ourselves up as a living sacrifice, just as our fathers had to offer sacrifice for themselves. You know what I mean? Everything's is still the same. Just we don't do animals anymore. Our fathers did animals. You know what I'm saying? Then we had an earthly high priesthood that offered sacrifices for the people, and when the people brought their sacrifices, you know what I'm saying, atonement was given to them. Now we went back to, a heavenly priesthood. You know what I'm saying, and now we sacrifice for ourselves. We sacrifice ourselves. Yeah, so it's true. It's true. It's a trip. Any more questions? What about you? No, you good? All right. All right. All right. So of course, we'll end it there. We'll close out. Of course, uh, we are in, in our new moon now, of course. So remember, um, yes, we're in the third month. We just remember the ordinances still are as the same. So you are permitted to cook, but There's no buying nor any selling on this day. All right. So no further questions. Then we'll close out, and we'll enjoy our new moon. All right. So for those who are online, we'll definitely see you this upcoming Friday evening for our opening Sabbath class. So with that, we say shalom